In this video, we're going to discuss whether or not residential HVAC techs are doomed. If you run a home service business like painting, contracting, lawn care, or cleaning, your to-do list is endless. From hiring staff to mountains of paperwork, not to mention doing the actual work that pays the bills. Jobber is a mobile and online app that helps you organize your business and look professional. With Jobber, you can quote jobs, schedule your crew, invoice, and get paid all in one place. Try it free today at getjobber.com/shoptalk. To open this conversation, we're going to talk about the reasons why I made this video and the reasons why residential techs, well, they may not want to be residential techs. They might want to get out of the business or change what type of technician they are or move to commercial. And here's the reasons why. In residential, a lot of the times, especially in peak demand seasons like summer down in Florida or maybe winter up in the northern parts of the country, you'll have technicians that are asked to work an abnormally large amount of hours. Now, sometimes the techs want to work a lot of hours. Sometimes they'd prefer not to have to work every single day, 10, 12 hours a day, especially if they have families. But in residential, it's relatively common for a company to overwork a technician in order to try to keep up with the demands of call volume and to just hoard as much money as possible in some cases. Because some company owners don't have the ability to say no. They see every call as a potential profit, a potential dollar, and they don't want to shy away from taking all those calls. But when there's a disconnect between the company owner and the technicians in the field, sometimes the company owner can forget how much stress that puts his field technicians under and how close they come to breaking, and maybe explains why there's a lot of turnover at some companies. The next thing is that some companies like to focus on sales. They don't go with technical ability. They don't go with the ability to fix things. They just want to see technicians find units that are potential sales leads and turn them into sales. They're less concerned with fixing old equipment. They're less concerned with fixing major failures. And they want to try to turn as many service calls as they can into potential installs. Now, in some cases, this is warranted. There's a certain point in a piece of equipment's life where you have to say, all right, we need to stop putting good money after bad. But you know what? In a lot of cases, even in the older units, simple fixes will rule the day. A 30-year-old unit still might need a run cap and then be fine afterwards. But too many companies like to focus on those sales leads because that's where your maximum earning comes from. And if you incentivize your technicians through commissions to, instead of fix things, sell things, then you're going to get a whole lot of potential sales out of what could have been fixed. Now, sometimes that feels good for a while, you make a lot of money, but I believe in the long run, it'll start to eat at you when you know that you could have saved people money or fixed things instead of selling them brand new units. The next thing is that some residential companies, they lack oversight. They lack managerial prowess. A lot of times the company owner may just be a regular guy that decided to make a company, and regular guys who decide to make a company don't necessarily know all there is about the business. They may know about fixing stuff, they may know about installing or sales, but they may not know about running a company properly. And if the managerial structure of a company is weak or unethical, then it spreads like cancer throughout the entire company. It poisons the morale of all the technicians and installers and causes the entire company to sort of sink lower and lower until the problem is fixed. The problem is a lot of the guys are trained at one thing, but not business or managerial skills. I don't mean you have to go to college for everything like business. You don't have to have a degree in business, but you do have to have a set of attributes that are conducive to being a good businessman. And a lot of people don't have that. And if they don't have it, they don't look at trying to fix that. That doesn't stop them from owning a company for other reasons. They want to own a company to have more freedom in their schedule. They want to earn more. But sometimes those skills that make up most of ownership are lacking or deficient in those people. And if they're in charge of a company and then they hire managers that are the same way, it can poison the entire company and sort of ruin the lives of everybody there slowly and painfully. Now, another thing that companies have that's very similar to that is the fact that they lack the management structure. Perhaps the install crews don't have an install manager to report to and ask questions to. Perhaps the service techs have no service manager to ask questions. Some companies are small and they don't really need all those parts. But if you're a larger company and you don't have that structure, then things can go awry real quick. The beauty of a larger company to me is that you have a structure that's in place to handle issues, so that the boss man doesn't have to get involved in any tiny little thing that happens out in the field. And service managers and install managers can kind of run their groups because they have those specific skills in place to be able to do that, whereas the general manager or the owner may not have those specific skills, but they're better at running the entire company. Now, if you don't have qualified people in those places, especially in a larger company structure, then it may cause things to get very inefficient. Imagine asking the company owner of a 100-man company every time you had a question about duct size or how many screws you need to put in a grill or something like that. It would really mess up the schedule and mess up everybody's morale. So having that structure in place properly is very important to enjoying your residential HVAC career, no matter which part of your career you're in, owner all the way down to grunt who carries the tools over. So knowing all this, are residential techs doomed? I don't think they're doomed. I enjoyed being a residential tech for my father for a long time, an installer before that. I started my own company, not because I necessarily wanted to, but because the times we were in, it just seemed like the move we had to make, and I ended up liking it, although I wasn't a typical business owner. I don't have that business mindset as far as, I don't even know what it is as far as because I don't have it. But I did an okay job and I made good money for myself for a long time before having to step away from that. That being said, there are major issues with the residential field because there's not as much training in certain parts. There's not as much education in how companies should be structured or who's supposed to be doing what. You have to rely on people that have an aptitude for that train themselves. And in residential, it's more like the Wild West. If you move up to commercial and industrial, there's certification hierarchies. You have to have certain things to do other things. And in residential, it's just not the case. You can pretty much start your own company, and if you have an EPA certification, you're a service company, and then you get your licenses, hopefully, to become an install company. But it's a lot less regulated and a lot less, not just regulated, but policed. I mean, you can do something wrong for 20 years in residential and you not get in trouble, whereas in other parts of the industry, if you do that, you don't last very long. So in that way, residential is a little bit more of a wild card. I still love doing residential. You might not. It might not be the thing for you. Let me know in the comments down there what you think. Are you a residential technician? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Do you agree with what I said or disagree? I'd really like to know. And commercial, industrial guys out there, comment on your situation. Did I encapsulate it properly, or is there something I missed? Make sure to let me know down in the comments, and I will see you guys on the next video. God bless each of you. I said God bless you. I'll get out of here.
Save 8% off your order at TruTechTools.com by using the Shop Talk discount code.